cultures for me that have influenced me is graffiti and hip hop. Chicago has brought a lot of hip hop artists and a lot of graffiti artists to the scene and have made them famous and well known. So for hip hop, some artists are Common, Lupe Fiasco, Kanye West, Chance the Rapper, Twista, and Chief Keef. And some graffiti artists are Amuse, Temper, Pose, East, Omens. But out of all these people, not one of them is a female. And the only female rapper that has come out of Chicago is The Brat, who was really well known in the 90s, but isn't well known now. And since then, nobody has come out to be as famous as she was. And in fact, an article by Elizabeth Brown mentioned how Chicago is one of the cities that still has an underrepresentation of women in the graffiti scene. And so graffiti and hip hop, I identify myself with them a lot. And when I tell people that I like hip hop, they usually look at me like I'm crazy or like I don't know what I'm talking about. But in reality, some of the times I'm the one teaching them about hip hop opposed to them teaching me. And the same thing goes with graffiti. I might not know as much as other people, but when I tell them the things I know, it comes as a shock because, well, I'm a female and, you know, females usually don't get up or don't do graffiti. So I use a lot of, when I do art, I use a lot of the same mediums graffiti artists use. So actually I did this piece for Toni Lopez, and I just made a stencil by hand, and then I just used spray paint to create the background. And I also do like sketches, so I don't do tags or I don't like put them out there so not a lot of people know that I actually do all this. But you know, it builds up my credibility. And so I'm not the only one who has this problem though with being unrepresented in graffiti. And in a novel by Steve Stout, it's called The Tanning of America, which also was a documentary on VH1. He talked about how hip-hop is actually evolving and how hip-hop is more in our society and is used for marketing a lot. So a lot of commercials have like little scenes where they're rapping about their product, or they're using graffiti in the background to promote their product. So even though hip-hop and graffiti are evolving, it's kind of taking a step back when it's when you relate it to diversity. So there's still a lack of women that are represented. So through the 90s, you had a lot of female MCs who were coming out and were there from the beginning, but are not seen as much now. So in this instance, Queen Latifah was really big, and here you see her as someone who is standing upright. She's fully clothed. She's seen as empowering. She's seen as intelligent. She's not seen as a sex object, but go to the next one. But here today, the only female rapper that's big is Nicki Minaj, and she's the complete opposite from Queen Latifah. She's actually, this isn't one of her videos, and she's in a cage. So she's portraying herself as an animal, basically telling people that women are seen as animals, that she's revealing herself. She's seen as vulnerable. She's not seen as intelligent. She has to wear all this makeup in order to be pretty, whereas Queen Latifah had barely any makeup on. And now in hip-hop, most record labels only hold one female rapper at a time. So that's why there's not really anybody else after Nicki Minaj. And the same goes for graffiti. In a lot of people's pieces, when they use female characters, they exaggerate females' bodies. So they give them big boobs or they give them big butts that aren't really realistic, but it is seen as something. So women are being like kind of put out there that that men are seeing like these sexual desires within them. And so that goes back to having a lack of representation of both female and males within hip-hop and graffiti. But it's not even, because hip-hop has a majority of African-American males and not really a diversity among people of different ethnicities, whereas graffiti, you could find graffiti artists from every country around the world, but there you can't hardly find any women. So creating organizations such as Young Chicago Authors, which is here in Chicago, they offer an MC workshop for people, or just writing workshops, which allows people to express their creativity. And I think in order for these programs to like be in and actually do something for our community is showing a lot, because a lot of people go to Young Chicago Authors and they actually come here to help Muchin students after school. And so when you have programs like this, you're getting people from all over the city, but we don't only want to focus on urban cities. We want to focus on suburban students. We want to focus on people who live in rural areas, because it's not only city kids who aren't being exposed to different diversities. You want people to come with different ideas from all over. You don't want to hear the same song lyrics about people singing about the gang violence in Chicago or about them partying all the time. You don't want to see the same font being used in graffiti. You want to see different types. So another group for graffiti is a group called Few and Far. And this graffiti artist named Mimi actually created Few and Far on her own. And it's an all-girls female crew, but they don't only focus on graffiti, they focus on women and skateboarding and areas where women are unrepresented. So if you allow programs like this, you get more people interacting, you get more people expressing their creativity, because nowadays it's all academics, it's no creativity. We're not using our minds as much as we should be. And so if when you have more diversity, you're influencing people, you're teaching others, and you're learning from others. And it's not just about like certain styles, you're learning a different culture at the same time. So diversity creates creativity.